Hello everyone, Classic Burning Crusade is right around the corner and I bet you're wondering what's the best way to get to 70. Now this method I'm about to show you has two key aims. The first is to give you a head start with reputation in the endgame. And second is to avoid those player congestions. You know, remember at the beginning of Classic when you had to make massive lines for a singular quest mob? Yeah, it's to avoid those. Now reputations is very important in TBC. With rep you can buy the best in slot enchants for the entire expansion, recipes for crafting, and finally pre-raid BIS items. Take hunters. With honor hold, revered and exalted, you can pick up a strong polearm and a very good epic gun. Great for early game raiding. So the method is dungeon leveling. It's that easy. You simply just have to level in dungeons appropriate to your level. Now before I go into an order in which you should do these dungeons and good team comps, let me explain how it works. Leveling dungeons, as listed on the screen now, provide reputation for trash and boss kills, but only to honoured. However, the quests in the leveling zones will give you rep no matter what your reputation level is. Meaning if you get to honoured with dungeons, you can then have all the quests in the zone to help you get to revered and exalted in the endgame. It gives you a great source of something to do while you're waiting for your dungeon and raid groups to come. Is this the fastest way to 70? Yes, with a pre-made geared group, but even in pugs it's slightly slower, but you still will make up that time in the endgame considering the reputation gains. Also, as I mentioned before, everybody's going to be going into Hellfire. Horde, Alliance, everybody, meaning there's going to be so many people for so many mobs. When you enter dungeons, you've not got to fight with anybody. So let's get down to dungeons. You first start off with Ramparts, a very quick, easy dungeon with plenty of trash and easy pulls. You can do this from anywhere between 58 and 62. Also, getting out of this dungeon to reset is super quick, making it fantastic. So let's move on to the Blood Furnace. This dungeon can be a little more tricky. It has some stealth mobs, casters and fell guards that hit very hard, but overall still quick and easy, and this can be done between 61 and 63. The same as the Ramparts, getting out and resetting is fast and effective. From there you will venture to Zangarmarsh. The first dungeon you will encounter is the Slave Pens. Now this dungeon I tend to skip. Unlike the previous two dungeons, this one takes a long time to get out and reset, making it a nightmare for speed. I'd sooner push a little further in Blood Furnace and skip straight to the Underbog. Talking of the Underbog, this place is fantastic. Lots of trash, clumped packs and lots of bosses for rep and loot. On top of all that, one of the quickest resets in the game as the boss is literally a 10-second walk from the portal. This will take you to 63 to 65. Now onto Terakar Forest, we have the Mana Tombs. This dungeon, like the Underbog, has clumped packs of mobs making it great for AoE. However, they do have a few tricky packs. At the end of the dungeon you will encounter worms that will die when they explode, and throughout the entire dungeon you'll encounter void terrors that fear. But just keep an eye out for them. Apart from that, it's a very quick reset time, making it super effective. This covers 64 to 66. Now this is where dungeon leveling has a kink in the road. 66 to 67 can be a little bit slow, as you only really have Mana Tombs for quick effectiveness, but that's kinda low level at this point. It's worth mentioning Arkandoon Crypts and Battle for Durnhold, but both these have horrible reset timers and XP rates. Personally, I push through by spamming Mana Tombs to 67, but in our OP, Nax and AQ gear, we might be able to go onto Selethic Halls at level 66. So once you hit 67, or 66 if you're living life dangerously, you can venture into the Selethic Halls. This is my favourite dungeon. Massive packs, lots of experience, good endgame starting loot and a bloody quick reset timer make it great instance to spam to your heart's content. This can be done from 67 to 70. However, if you do get bored, you can venture into one of the endgame dungeons at 69. Those are Shattered Halls, Shadow Labs, the Steam Vaults and Black Morass. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the Steam Vaults. If you take your time, this dungeon is not too bad. However, entering any endgame dungeon before 70 can be a risk. And honourable mentions are the Netherstorm dungeons, however some have to be unlocked by a quest chain and they all require flying to get to them, so they're a little bit out of the way. So we've talked strategy and the order that you want to do them in. Now let's talk team comps. Every class with AQ40 gear and Nax gear will be great no matter what, but there are some honourable mentions. First is the king of AoE tanking, the Protection Paladin. In TBC they become a viable tank for all forms of content and a complete monster at tanking dungeons and trash. Druid and warriors are close behind, so don't get angry in the comments. In terms of DPS, every class works. Mages and warlocks have a slight upper hand due to their AoE prowess, but warriors, rogues and hunters make up for that with their consistent damage. Healer wise, everything works again. Druids are great because they offer thorns to the tank, helping with aggro. Priests have the ability to AoE with Holy Nova, and paladins and shaman offer absolutely amazing buffs, so take any healer. So what is the best way to set this up? Honestly, join a guild and form groups prior to release. It's that simple.